today Miss Shawnee Dahl, and she is joining us from RUSD, and she is the principal at Central Middle School. For those of you who don't know, Central Middle School was one of the beta pilots for School to Home 11 years ago. So Shawnee has done a tremendous job at Central, and so we're going to turn it over to her for just open discussion on strategies that encourage parental involvement.
All right, so thanks so much. I'm just going to talk about sort of how we decided to connect with our families in a virtual environment once we went into distance learning during the pandemic, and how some of the choices we made at that time out of a necessity have actually continued now that we're back in person, because they were so effective at reaching parents. And so I've had to, over the years, really refine my understanding of what parental engagement is. And for many years as a principal, I thought parental engagement was how many people came to a session, how many parents gave you a certain number of their hours to sit through education of some sort. And I was always disappointed because we had low numbers. You know, our parents work, they have many other commitments other than being at the school site. And so it was always a sort of a perpetual cycle of disappointment because I felt like we were never getting enough parents engaged. And then when we went into distance learning and the school year started in August of 2020, I was thinking about my announcements to students, which we make at school every day. And I realized, well, there aren't any kids here at school. And there were things I needed parents to know, such as about the bell schedule and how things were going to look in distance learning. And so I did something that's really out of my comfort zone because I hate videotaping myself and I hate putting myself out in a public space. But I did my very first video announcement for my parents. And it went out on a Monday. I called it Monday's Message. And I let the parents know that this was going to be a way for them to know and to learn what's going on within school, even though the kids were not at school. And so looking at, when I think back to how we got there, I realized without kids at school, I realized that when we do announcements every day and we tell students what's going on during seventh period, the only people who ever hear that are the teachers and the students, where the teachers and the students generally know what's happening at school. And it's the parents who are not there in the building that don't know. And so my goal was to do a video that was never longer than 3 minutes. And at the end of this today, I'll put some of the links into the chat for you to watch at your leisure. But my goal was no more than 3 minutes ever, and always focusing on the three most important things parents needed to know that week. So if we were doing textbook distribution or Chromebook distribution, I put that in there. If it was back to school night, I would put that in the video. But I never wanted to overwhelm them because I know that they're not going to watch more than 2 to 3 minutes. And one of the things that started to happen very quickly, I would do the video and I'd send it out via email. I started getting responses from parents, and I started getting emails from parents asking follow-up questions, or emails from parents thanking me for information. And when we send our videos, we also can get a report back of who's getting the emails and who's not getting the emails. And so over the course of the year, we got more and more parents engaged with what was happening at the school site, and parents felt much more connected to me. They felt more connected to the school. They felt more involved in what was happening with their kids. So about 4 months into last year, somewhere around November, we got a translator. We didn't have one prior to that. And this translator that we got loves technology. And I said, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do this video every Monday, but I need you to do it in Spanish because I'm not bilingual. And so Then we started sending out an English video and a Spanish Mondays message video. Well, that was just the icing on the cake for parents. They were so pleased that we were able to communicate with them in both languages, and that we were showing our value and inclusion of students and parents who spoke a language other than English. And then he started to just communicate with parents too. They would email him and ask him questions. And it just really brought the parents into what was happening at school, even though we were not physically on site. And so what I will say is, as we got our reports back, if a parent called about picture day, for example, and they were angry because they said that no one told them when picture day was, the first thing my office staff knows to do is they look at the report, and they look at the report to see if this parent has blocked us, because many parents have blocked our school email for various reasons. And that was another connection, another way into giving parents support. And we could say, well, we see that you're blocked. And did you know that Mrs. Dahl sends this Monday's message every Monday? And so it gave us an opportunity to get them re-engaged with school, because at some point they thought it wasn't valuable to be connected and to receive emails. And this really has been very helpful. And last year, when we got our parent results to our surveys, the one thing they said was most meaningful to them and most beneficial were the Monday's messages. So even though we're back, and I still hate being on camera, every Monday, that Monday's message goes out to our parents in both English and Spanish. And our translator has left our school because he got a full-time position at the district office, but he's so invested in Central that he still does the Monday's message in Spanish for me, even though he's not at Central anymore. And so it has just been a way for me to see that engagement isn't always about how many people physically are able to come to a site. It's about how do we connect you so you know how to get information, and so we know what information is of value to you in your seat. And one of the messages that they most appreciate is when I give them notice that progress reports are coming or report cards are coming, and how many days are left for their students to turn in work. And I put in tutoring hours for teachers, and it really connects our parents with our teachers as well. And they might email and say, I need the teacher's email for my students' language arts class. And I'll just give it right back to them, reply to them. And so engagement is whatever we can do to make coming and engaging in the school less fearful for parents, and more inclusive, and just creating a more of a home, we're in it together feeling. And so I just want to really encourage you. You probably all do some form of announcements or letters or newsletters. One other thing I forgot to say is when I send out the video, it doesn't just go to the parents. So it goes to all of the staff. So the staff know what I'm telling the parents. It goes to the parents. It goes to the students, so they know what I'm telling them. But I also send it out to the other contacts. So you'll never see a happier person than a grandmother who gets the Monday's message and knows what's happening at her grandkids' school. It really makes a huge difference in the home for that feeling of it takes a village, and they're all in it together, and they know what's going on. So I'll give you some links as Nadine leads us through some questions and some discourse, and then you're free to watch those when you want.
Thank you, Shawnee. That was fantastic. And I especially love two things. Number one, how you're willing to put yourself out there and out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it's those things that we have to do for our students and our families. And I love that you lead by example and you model that for the team. And the second thing I wanted to highlight was how important it was when you said that it's not just about the attendance to the events. There's been so much research behind that. And if we take a deep dive into the framework for family engagement by the Department of Education, where within that framework, it's clearly outlined that that cannot be a measure of success. Even the parents with the best intentions, even the parents of our students who are succeeding, don't attend events for various reasons. So it's about meeting them where we can to make sure that they're still feeling connected. And you have found a way to do that. And that is so meaningful. So thank you so very much. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have some questions that we've put together for those of you who are participating here. Just to go into a little bit more detail about what we're experiencing, because we want to hear from you as well. So we want to look at specifically what are some approaches that you've taken to increase the level of engagement for families of underrepresented demographics. So to give you some examples, so we're not just talking about, you know, our schools are in this program because they serve an underrepresented, right? They're at some sort of disadvantage already to be a part of this program. So let's narrow it down even further and say, what are we doing to reach the families of our newcomers? What are we doing with special populations such as SPED, English language learners, or other subcategories that you have within your district? If we funneled it down and we were just to focus on a specific subgroup, what is it that you might be experiencing? And then Lance and Sylvia, did we have the Jamboard link for this?
Let me set this up real quick.
Okay. And then while he's doing that, I'm going to give you guys think time. And I'm going to just go over my part super fast. So my name is Nadine Mugridge. I am a teacher on special assignment for Riverside Unified School District, and I have the honor of serving the 3 school sites that participate with School to Home. And I have the privilege of working with our parents and providing the parent training, and working with our teachers and providing the professional development. And a lot of what we wanted to focus on to get our families engaged was to make sure that we had a way of having a meaningful connection with them to meet them where they're at. So very similar to Shawnee, I had to step out of my comfort zone. And we created a series of videos that we share to families, and we have a playlist on YouTube for School to Home. So we create videos. Usually the topics of these videos are generated from the reflection sessions that we have with teachers, where they get to give us feedback on what's happening. For example, they're the boots on the ground, and they let us know, hey, this is a common issue that we're having. It'd be great if parents knew about this. So we are, then tasked with going back and creating videos, and then those go out to all of our families, and we get the analytics on that because it's through a station that our department hosts. So we're able to go back and see like how many families have viewed it, what was the duration of time, like so did they watch the entire video? And we take a lead from TikTok, and we know that attention spans are very short. So we keep those videos as best as we can in like a minute. So they're more frequent, so they get more videos, but they have them for a short amount of time, so we get to capture their attention. And then that's how we get a lot of our information out. And that's also how we invite our families to come to training workshops, because then we just put the link in the bio for the video. So it's clickbait, but it works. And we get emails from our families about how they're really feeling like they're connected, because it's for all 3 of our sites. And it's just our 3 sites that are getting those special videos. So they feel that extra bit of love and support, knowing that they're getting this extra layer through School to Home. So the first question is, as we discussed, so it's on there now. The Jamboard is linked in the chat. If you wouldn't mind sharing some of the approaches that you're taking, big or small. Small is great, because we all could start off somewhere small. We use a tool that allows our meetings to be translated as it is happening. Oh, fantastic. Also post videos on a Google site for school to home. Great. Announcements and invitations on Parent Portal, Schoology. Okay, great. It sounds like a lot of us are doing very similar things. We are finding multimedia ways of getting ourselves out there in front of families when we can't do it in person, which has been a challenge. And I'm sure we're all really looking forward to the day when we can start engaging with our families in person and having that connection. Making sure that we're offering in both languages. Yes. Texting. Oh yeah, you know that they will. There's a statistic there. I think people are 70% more likely to read a text than to listen to the voicemail, right? So they have the choice to either participate in person, live with you, or to go back and view it asynchronously on their own. Excellent. I love that. Providing choice is big. Avid, collaborating around art projects. Oh, I love that. Bringing in the different cultures. Oh, and representing them through visual art. I love that. I love that. Thank you all so very much for sharing. Those are all excellent strategies for reaching out to families. And I saw that you had all began posting some of those same things that we do at RUSD. We too have created a parent site for school to home. It is in a mirror view in English and Spanish. So all of the resources that we have are available to our families in both languages. And also I saw someone make that comment on there that if our families are unable to join us, so we have several sessions and we invite them to join us live for their Zoom webinars for their training. And if they are unable to, we have a platform with Rise is the name of the platform, where we have designed the parent modules, and they're complete with text and audio and video and media, and our families can go through and complete the lessons at their own pace. And then we are able to extract that data to see which families have completed it. And so they're feeling, they never get that feeling of being left out for not being able to make it at a certain time restraint. And then the other strategy we have is partnering with our local community groups. So we are fortunate enough at our school district to have a family resource center. And it is phenomenal being able to partner with the ladies that work at that unit, because they are able to reach families and get them connected with many different communities within our city and with wraparound services. So if we are having a school to home webinar, for example, and then a family reaches out to me and lets me know, okay, they need internet services. So through going in that process and finding out that they need internet services, we can also find out if they need other services, and then we're able to provide that for them. So we're really going past just having digital literacy and having connectivity. We're building relationships with families and connecting them and bringing them into a sense of community. And I think that speaks leagues and volumes, far greater than any attendance number is going to give you, right? So them feeling like that they have a partner in us. And as Ms. Dahl had said, it takes a village. And once our families know that we're on their side and that we are a part of a village with them, we tend to see greater success rates as well. Okay, next slide, please. We've got 10 minutes and then we're back in. So another fun tidbit that we were able to pull from the family engagement framework is we know that families are interested in receiving data about their own child. And when we are mass producing information and sharing it with our families, we can't really pinpoint to one kid. We can't share just this one kid's success, strengths, or opportunities. But equally as important, we have learned that our families feel a sense of community when we are sharing general data with them. So we wanted to think of come together and have an opportunity to brainstorm some data that we can share with families to help them build that community. So give you a really small example. Our superintendent just sent out a letter to all of our elementary students. We all received that. And it was just talking about the importance of attendance. And if that's a very generic thing that we could share with our school sites. So like if every month you were able to share your attendance and say, hey, this month we had 92%, this month we had 98%, and then them feeling the sense of community, like A, being in the know, and B, seeing that growth. So they're feeling like they're a part of what's happening. So if you have an initiative that you're working around and you're collecting data for that initiative, is that something we could share with families? And how does that help us build on that critical dimension of building that trust with our families? So let's go ahead. We're going to drop that last Jamboard link in the comment in the chat. Test scores, so SBAC, attendance rate, classroom competition. Oh, yes, for sure. I can tell you that is a go-getter. So in managing the social media accounts for our sites, I can tell you right now that the ones that get the most interactions, likes, comments, you name it, are anything where we're talking about classroom competitions. Even if it's not featuring the students, if we're highlighting the teachers, they love it. So everybody loves a friendly competition. Recognize students for grades each quarter, but not just straight A's. We're looking for, oh yes, growth. Recognize and show growth. Everybody loves that. Thank you. Homeroom attendance, district test scores. Yes. Very good. Anything else? Anybody else want to share? I really appreciate you guys sharing these with us. I know it's hard because we tend to think of data as boring, or we tend to think of it as something that they might not be interested in, but there is definitely a wealth of knowledge that we can pull from that and have them feel competitions, team sports. Yes. And it looks like we have a 5-minute warning for us to go back in. So we're going to open it up. If you would like to unmute and share something, or unmute and ask questions, this is our time together to help each other. I'm sure every single one of you has something that you can contribute to the conversation or an experience.
I have something to add, Nadine, that we're thinking about and batting around at my site. And I don't know if it will work yet, but we are considering having once a month, one of our ASB students do the Monday's message, video message, because we have students who do the announcement, an ASB student who does the announcements for students every day at 7th period. But we're looking for ways to get students involved. And I think that is going to reach out to even more families. And it may be something that takes hold. So that's something we're batting around with our leadership team and talking about which week that student might do the video to really make it more engaging for the other kids as well. So that's something that may be coming down the pike.
I absolutely love that idea. Because every parent wants to see their kid, number one. Number two, really just building those skills in those students is such a great benefit to them and to everyone. And that brings it full circle, when we talk about servicing our staff, servicing our families and our students. So just bringing in that component is amazing. Thank you, Shawnee. I love that idea. You have a wealth of knowledge here. I wanted to make sure that I recognize Lance and Sylvia. They are a part of School to Home through Families in Schools, and they are helping with the chat moderation and working the slides in the background. So I really want to make sure that I highlight them and say thank you. And you have a wealth of knowledge in them as well. So please don't hesitate
I was just thinking equally, thank you so much for sharing the possibility of having students announcements, but we're thinking even take it to a next level. Maybe if you have a section for parents, maybe you invite a parent and then you encourage that parent to invite another parent. We have a sign up list. If you're interested in sharing out, what's taking place, that's just another recommendation. I think that would be a good way, and then build their confidence, build their ability to feel confident in the video, but equally be able to share and then let families know, like, you equally have an opportunity. So if you want to host us next week, here's a sign up link.
That is so cool. I love it. I'm going to take that to my school site council and ELAC and start with them in December. I think that'd be really neat to do.
I guess we'll do it. So it's, what strategies or ideas from our conversation will you be taking back to your school sites?
Okay, I love it. So someone's going to adopt the video message to the families, creating groups. Yes, it is a wonderful idea. I love it.